Microsoft did a really nice thing.
Okay.
So, some person many years ago said, you know what? In the year 2022, I'm going to give people who don't want to move to the cloud a break from email. And by break, they codified, I believe, using the wrong integer value, or I think I can't even remember the bug now. But anybody who had on-premises version of Exchange running to deliver email, as soon as it ticked over to 2022, I believe, what was it, the security protocol that scans it. It's definitely a Monday. My brain is foggy
It's
as
not
hell.
Fido, but it's something like Fido.
Yeah, whatever. Scans all the email. Just kind of broke because of an integer overflow issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Interesting.
email just
Yeah.
stopped
They're
showing up.
probably using the original Gen Pentium processor, so it can't handle integer math, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I mean, I don't know why they rushed to fix this. It's jerks. They should have just left it and like, look, just go to Teams. Then you don't have to worry
Yep.
about this.
Yep. Some guy was laying in bed remoting into a desktop somewhere at work so he could fix this.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't care less.
Anyway, so that's how Microsoft's 2022 started with a.
They also gave a little gift to the buyers of the original Surface Duo by not upgrading to the version of Android that came out 2 years ago. So, that's nice.
Are you saying, Paul, that this thing right here,
Is
this
a piece
thing
of-
is
Oh, sorry.
not bleeding edge?
It does have two screens.
It's folding. It has a hinge.
Mm-hmm.
It launched to a lot of fanfare, and then
I mean, arguably, you could say they're updating it as well as Google is updating Pixel 6. So
there you go. There's your headline.
reached.
Headline. What does Duo 2 and Pixel 6 have in common?
Right. No updates.
No updates.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
It'll be like the day one experience because you're going to be using it for a while.
Well, that's how you should buy technology. Never buy it for the updates because, as noted by this,
Yeah.
by that, there was something else that was major going on.
There was.
Was it? Samsung announced their new TVs with Gaming Hub, but doesn't have the Xbox stuff, which Microsoft said
About that.
last year.
Yeah. That's coming, right? There's
It's
no
got to
way that's-
be.
No, it definitely is. Definitely.
I mean, these guys are in bed together with whatever your phone. Why not your
This
TV?
is something Microsoft probably wants them to announce on Microsoft's schedule
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
as its own thing.
Yeah.
So in some future Xbox event or something, or industry event.
Coming to a TV near you. That thing
Yeah.
that's
Well,
that box?
as we expand the availability of Xbox Cloud Gaming, blah blah blah.
I'll start holding my breath for this to show up on Apple TV. That'll be, or maybe Chromecast.
You
I guess
probably saw this story about this, right? That Microsoft tried everything they could to get Apple to say okay to this,
Yeah.
and was willing to make major concessions, and they finally met a company that's a bigger problem than they are.
That's a very polite way to describe that for money. I mean, we got to ease into the year. We got to
Yeah, we do.
easing into it. So, what are you doing with .NET?
Well, I had 2 years ago written a series very frenetically, and I went back and I didn't reread every sentence of it, but I believe there were over 50 articles about the history of programming Windows as a way to see the history of Windows through the industry forces that Microsoft was reacting to, the internal decisions they made, et cetera, et cetera. And I stopped off at the .NET era because I knew Richard Campbell was writing a book about the history of .NET, and I didn't want to step all over that. And then I just kind of, it just kind of drifted off. And it's been bugging me lately. There's a couple things going on related to programming topics I want to revisit. Like I had put my 3 versions of that Notepad app up into GitHub, and also basically 2 years. It's kind of a year and a half has gone by, but Microsoft has switched over to a new long-term support version of .NET now.
Mm-hmm.
And they've actually improved Windows Forms, which is the oldest of the technologies I've used, and the Project Reunion, the Windows App SDK ship. So technically, you could take one of these apps and update them to like the new UI and everything. So I wanted to look at that stuff, and there's some interesting issues getting that stuff going again off of GitHub. So that's something I might want to write about. But you know, the Richard Campbell's book never came out, so I'm like, and you know, when you think about the period of time from 2000 through today, you could say 2000 through 2015. I mean, it's not all about .NET. I mean, the history of Windows is whatever it is, but there's other stuff going on too. So I finally decided these things are all. Oh, and I've been meaning to do another programming project as well, and I kind of delayed that last year because of Windows 11, which got in the way of a lot of things. So I decided I'm not going to let Windows 11 get in the way anymore. I'm going to redo all these things are in my head. So I'm going to continue the series and finish it. And I'll look at that application, like I said, those applications. And then I kind of want to think about what's next on this thing. I don't know. I feel like Windows 11 happened, and then all the stuff I was going to do just got thrown at the wayside. And over the break, I was kind of looking through all that, and I'm going to stop letting that happen, Brad.
Don't let your dreams be dreams, Paul Thurrott.
Well, I mean, I've spent months working on this Windows 11 book. I haven't published it yet, and it's in no state to be published, but it's a lot of thought and a lot of effort towards something that frankly doesn't warrant that time or effort. It's not that dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's just a new UI that has less stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, ultimately. So I'm just kind of trying to rethink my priorities here. I think I got distracted. That's maybe the way to put it.
It happens.
Yeah.
Ish. I don't know. I got nothing. Like trying to put something.
I don't know. The .NET era, in many ways too, is just. This is when I stopped programming. You know, because I was just at a job basically, and I didn't have to. I was self-publishing my website before that, so I never really got into this stuff. And it's. But I mean, I wrote about it professionally. But I mean, I don't know. It's interesting revisiting history.
It is. They say there's some famous quotes around looking at history, predicting future, past sort of thing.
That's true. That's true. But the .NET stuff is particularly interesting on that note because Microsoft was going to turn everything into .NET, and they made all these promises about all the stuff they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It was .NET My Services, Hailstorm, and Windows.NET and Office.NET, and you know, blah blah blah. There were going to be versions of Windows that had .NET and some that didn't. And they were going to, you know, and none of that happened. Like none of it, you know, and you know, on the Windows front, I mean, Whistler was going to be a minor thing, and then Blackcomb was going to be a major thing, and Whistler ended up being XP, which was a major thing that hung around for 14 years, and Blackcomb never happened, and Longhorn took its place, and that was a major thing, but they delayed it for so many years, and Windows Vista came out, and it kind of bombed.
Kind of?
Okay. Yeah. Well, it did great when they called it Windows 7, but you know... yeah. That's the lesson there, I guess.
Well, so I'm going to offer you a time-saving tip here, Paul Thurrott. Time-saving tip to help you prioritize. So when you're reviewing this .NET history, you're going to get to a funky spot somewhere like 2010, 2012, and they're going to start talking about this thing called UWP. Just skip it. just skip it.
Well, that's so. Yeah, I mean, the first half of the series, if you think about it, is the beginning of Windows until. It goes back a little further, really, but you know, we'll call it 1985 to 2000. So that's a clean 15 years. Mm-hmm. So technically, I could stop at 2015, and that is UWP.
Yeah.
But I still have to handle Windows 8, which I think we can all, and Metro, which is.
Well, where does WinUI or whatever we're on now? 3? Is that what they're calling it?
Mm-hmm. Where does it fit in?
Yeah.
That's the great. That's the apology release, right? That's when they finally. Not that. There's two issues with all this stuff: the Metro apps and the well, more than two, but UWP, WinUI, whatever. And that is, they went off the rails in this direction toward mobile computing, thinking this was going to be the future, knowing that no one was developing new desktop applications anyway. But they just alienated the developers they still had, and so you have this thing that's not appropriate for a desktop, which is one issue, and then the way they implemented it. By tying it to specific Windows versions, also proved to be an Achilles heel, and that's what the Windows app SDK more broadly, but WinUI being the major component of it is the fix for that. So here what is it, 2021, right? So 9 years later, right? Or 10. I mean, 10 really, right? Because they would have been developing it years ahead of time. They finally fixed what Sinofsky ruined, but we still have this UI that's kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it's still. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still there-ish, kind of.
They're getting it. They're getting it there.
I mean, the important thing is they're not rushing to any decisions. They're taking their time.
I saw the first mention of Kevin Gallo's name. I didn't know who he was at the time, but in 2000,
Wow.
he moved into the group that was working on .NET stuff.
You should. Yeah, I mean, just don't worry about it. He's not going anywhere. I mean, just forget about him. He's
No,
not
but I
going to do
wonder if I
anything.
can eventually blame him for everything that went wrong. I'm working. That's one of my theories. the fifth column that's sabotaged Microsoft from within.
Is Kevin?
Kevin Gallo. It's all. This is my new conspiracy theory.
I'm sure. I'd love to. We should reach out to him, see if he's willing to sit down.
Every once in a while, his name will pop up over time. I'm gonna be like, "Yep, there's another brick in the wall here."
Oh gosh, Kevin Gallo. Well,
Like Kevin, what do you call that guy? The Red Scare from the 1950s. McCarthy. Kind of a McCarthy tribunal where I ask him where he was on particular dates.
where were you when they decided that it was going to be mobile first?
Yeah, you were Windows Phone, weren't you, Kevin? Yeah, I know. Thought so.
That's when he just pulls up the Men in Black thing. He goes, ting. Just. It's weird.
Oh boy, what a history.
Yeah. Anyways, that's 2022 or something. 2020. I don't know. It's. Why are people here? I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's Monday. Which, speaking of Monday, I'm traveling the next 3 days, so we'll be back.
Oh, I was jokingly just going to ask you if we could ease into the new year by doing like one show this week and then maybe 2 next week.
Yeah, no, it's I'm gonna go up to the office this week, and then I'll be home for a couple weeks, and then back, and then whatever, because I got a big.
Go to Mexico soon, like a week from soon. We'll see how that goes, but I don't know if you know what's going on in the world, Brad. But
I haven't been out of my basement in 3 years.
Yeah. Oh well. This will be fascinating to you then. Yeah. So we'll see if we can fly. But
Things are going that well. When do you think you're going?
Yeah, a week from Thursday.
Oh,
I mean, I'll do the show from. This is not purely a vacation. It's we're going to. I'll work. We'll be working, so I can do the show. While we're there, assuming we're there.
If you like pina coladas.